Hey, really glad you tuned in. And if your experience is like mine, your ability to gain clarity and see things differently than you may have in the past is gaining, which is really a plus. So I'll give you a recent example. This weekend, a friend had texted out of nowhere. He was waiting for an event to start, and it was in a mutual friend who had passed on, and it was a memorial celebration. I was so happy to hear from this friend. And the texting went back and forth, but suddenly he went dark. And I got the distinct feeling that someone else had shown up at the event that he knew, and he was comfortable now, so he didn't need me, holding his hand while he stood there alone. And whether or not that's true, I went back to the times that we saw each other more frequently, and I remember feeling that way a lot, feeling that way often, and feeling the rejection and the abandonment, but not being able to really address it, not being able to go inside and really sense it for what it was. I'm appreciative of the friendship. I understand the limitations, and I did back then, but now it was just so black and white and so clear. And I don't know if it's just the years of development and growing, or it's actually things are getting clearer. The veil is lifting. We can see more clearly. And tuning in is becoming more natural, going within. Whereas before, I would have just made a decision from my head based on what shoulds, shame of shoulds. I should do this. And usually it was to get XYZ. And the difference now is I pause, I go within, have more sense of my own being and mostly my own heart. It's not in my head, it's a feeling that's coming from my heart. And it's much easier to see more clearly about how I am feeling in the particular engagement I'm in. And whether it's true or not doesn't really matter. It's more important that I actually am taking that action to go within and to really see and feel. And I can almost touch and taste how I'm feeling, where the anxiety might be, where the rejection might be, where the abandonment might be, where the anger might be, where the joy might be, where the happiness might be, where the soothing might be. That is totally different than how I was trained to live. It was always gain value from the outside. Think it through, think it through. That word mindset, you guys know I've said many times, the word mindset really bothered me. And now I'm understanding why, because that to me has been programmed so deeply. And coming after my heart with the toxic systems that I've been trained in, it's a lot harder. I have way more power inside to really discern, meaning not judge, but just to see how I feel and know whatever's coming from the outside, that's the system's prerogative. That's that individual's prerogative. It has nothing to do with how I feel and my choices that I make. And I think that's the heavy veil that's starting to lighten and that's starting to lift. And I'll just speak for myself. I feel better. I feel more grounded. I feel more balanced. And when the anxiety comes up, I know immediately it's not going to be in my head where I fix it. It's going to be going inside into my heart because that's where my authentic power, sort of my higher self, my higher knowing, my intuition, for me, it feels like that's where it resides. And I don't have to take any immediate action. I can just feel into that place and then look at that post I just read and go, yeah, I'm not going to believe that crap. That feels like fake news to me, or that feels like, a produced post. It doesn't feel authentic to me. I'm just going to ignore that and go no further with that. And same going out through my day. Now I can go inside my heart rather than my head. My head would have me taking all these actions, some of them really pointless, but, chalking up the actions and going, okay, if I take this many actions, then I'm going to get. And it's that give to get that's starting to ease up, and I'm starting to go into my heart to see what my own being really needs. And a lot of times that's like laying down and taking a nap, because when I get back up, I'm a lot more clear and I can, there's some fresh idea, fresh energy that comes in, and then I can take an action if I have one to take from a more grounded, loving place. And things usually work out better. But the training, even from the medical system, from how I was educated, from how the news has programmed me, and I'm talking about alternative news as much as I'm talking about traditional, straightforward media. Um, Governmental rules, all this stuff that has trained me, and I've never really taken a moment to go inside, take a breath, and feel, and then trust that feeling. I'm watching in my days, I'll get an intuitive hit and I'll push it away because that's what I'm used to. You know, I'll hear that intuition speak. You could really stop down and have a cup of tea. Nah, I'm not going to do that right now. I don't need that. I can push through. And then now I'm catching myself and I'm stopping down and I'm going to make the tea and I'm actually drinking the tea. And maybe I don't see it right away, but it adds up. And that allows my central nervous system to turn down. And right now, that's a blessing because most central nervous systems are turned way up. I know there's a lot of chatter and cacophony that's created to turn mine up. So I'm really appreciative of those small moments where I can allow my heart to really speak and it wins out over my head, even though eventually they both connect and I can do the dance in a balanced place and I can take action from a balanced place rather than totally shutting down the head, painting it over, putting the duct tape and the sticky glue like over the heart and just running from my head. Or, yeah, just running from my head and trusting the beliefs that are presented to me, or trusting what someone else says and being ready to dive into their belief. I see it happen. I'm ready to dive into what they're saying without really stopping down and going within my heart and seeing how I really feel about it. So I just wanted to take the time to give us another rah rah to go inside the heart, to drop the mindset for now, go inside the heart and discern from there, decide from there, trust that heart space, trust that inner knowing, trust that higher self and allow it. And then let go of the judgment. My mindset has me in judgment of other people, of other traditions, of other ways of understanding. And that's not where I want to come from. I want the space to be able to trust my heart and say, it's okay. You can have your lifestyle. You can make your own choices. And I'm going to go with what I believe right now. And that's where a lot of my freedom, my balance, and my sovereignty is coming, especially in these times when it is getting really, you know, the waves are coming up and the current is starting to rip. And I need to find that balance on that board through the current with softness, not with, that bulldozer thing that comes from my mind. It's a softness of knowing and allowing. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, send me your questions, info@susangold.us. I'd be happy to answer it. We'll have to do a Q&A soon. I haven't done one of those in a while. And I hope you're having a really enjoyable day in this moment, in this 5 minutes, in this hour. Chop it down, go inside, go within, and all is well. Take good care. We are definitely in this together.